Column aliasing is a technique, a programming technique, if you will, that we can use in Transact SQL that allow us to rename a column just for the purposes of that one particular query output or the query result set. Now, you're going to fall in love with this one. This makes the output more readable and more self-explanatory. This is great for providing information for reports, for all kinds of things. And the best way to understand column aliasing is just to see it happen. So let's jump out into the Management Studio and take a look at some column aliasing. Now, what I'm going to do here is open a new query window. Keep in mind, when you see me doing this, let me just for a quick review, show you this right quick. To make this magic happen, I'm going to open the SQL Server Management Studio. So if you're on a Windows 8 machine, you can go to the desktop and do that. If you're on a Windows 7, you can just go to the Start menu and grab it. But notice when the SQL Server Management Studio opens up, it asks me to connect to the server. I'm using Windows Authentication. That's the way we set our SQL Server up when we installed it. And I'll just hit connect here. That will connect me, log me into the SQL Server. And now I can see my databases and all my tables and everything. And so here's my AdventureWorks 2012. Now, I don't have to expand this to be able to query against it, but a lot of times it helps to be able to look over here for things. So I'll click on the new query window right here, up on the little button bar. This will open up my new query window. And now I want to make sure that I set the context of my database to AdventureWorks. Now I'm going to give you a couple of lines here at the top. And let's talk about using column aliasing. Well, I'm going to do a select, and I'm going to select the first name and the last name from person.person. And what I'm going to do now is execute that query, and you can see the first and last name. Well, let's go back and change this just a little bit. Let's select first name as first. Then let's do last name as last. And again, do from, I'm going to put that on a separate line, from person.person. Now notice in all this is all not case sensitive. So I can call my column names all caps or how they're named in the database with capital Fs, however I want to, okay? But notice this right here, as first. This is going to return first name, but as first, last name as last. Let's look exactly at what that does. So I'll execute that, and notice in my result set, the name of this column is first and the name of this column is last. So it's just simply renamed the columns for the purposes of this one query. This can be used a lot of times to make the result set more readable, to make it more understandable, and you can use it in programming more complex stored procedures to keep straight what's going on with things and so forth. But I do want to show you one thing. This as keyword right here is optional. And as a result, in the real world, you'll almost never see that. You will see it like this. You'll just see first name, first, last name, last. Now notice when I execute this, it still works. So this is the way you'll see it. Now, how do you know when something's being aliased? You will see a word. Usually it's a column name, right? You'll see a word, a space, and another word, and then a comma. And so it's telling you that this is the first column that they're requesting. This is the column name. This is the column alias. There'll be a comma, another column name, another column alias. If we wanted to do another one, right? You know the drill. We just put a comma and we would put like title, and then we could put designation. Okay, we're going backwards there. We're making it more complex, but I want you to see how this works. We'll execute that, and so notice designation shows up, and it has replaced title. So column aliasing, very straightforward. We're going to do table aliasing a little bit later. Very, very similar, but offers us a little more power and a few more options with our queries. But for now, just kind of rest on column aliasing, and we'll build on that a little bit later on.